Today we're going to talk about introductory and conclusion paragraphs. These are both ideas that you should be pretty well comfortable with at this point, but just to review, when you're writing an introductory paragraph or an opening, you want to start broad with contextual information. This is just background information. You want to hook your reader in. You might do this by including a general statement. Lots of times at the Comp 1 level, this is the best place to start. You could also start with an anecdote. An anecdote is just a short little personal type story that illustrates your point. You could start with a startling fact or opinion, something that would really get your reader's attention. You could start with a question or a quotation from a famous person. That said, it's better typically until you have really mastered writing to try to avoid starting with quotations or with general questions, as they often leave the writing feeling weak. So I would encourage you really to stick with either a startling fact or a general statement to really get you going. Then you want to narrow in on your topic and complete your opening with your thesis statement. Your thesis statement is going to be that last sentence in your introductory paragraph. So let's look at an example. So here's a sample. It says, homelessness is an ever-growing issue facing Americans today. Notice, this is just a general statement. It sets up our topic and it gets us moving. It's not uncommon to see men and women sleeping on benches or living in tents in the woods. However, this problem has escalated for decades. In 1987, essayist Anna Quindlen, in her piece Homeless, urged upper-middle-class readers to use their voices, income, and bodies to find solutions to help America's homeless population. Here we're going to see narrowing. We started with the general idea of homelessness. We painted a picture of, where we see homeless people. And then we introduced the essay Homeless by Anna Quindlen. We're getting more and more narrowed in on our topic. Then it's going to pick back up. Arguing society has dehumanized homeless people to simply the homeless, Quindlen highlights an issue that has remained elusive. Through new social reforms, however, society is now poised to aid fellow Americans facing the plight of homelessness. So again, we continue to narrow in. We get close to, this is what Quindlen's argument is. Here's the problem. And then we get our thesis, which is going to make the argument that through new social reforms, society is now able to fix this problem, to really work on it. So we understand that the body paragraphs based on this thesis will focus on the different types of social reforms that can be put into action to help fight homelessness. This is a really simple, workable introductory paragraph. It does everything you need it to. It starts broad, it narrows down, and then it has a thesis statement that is one sentence that's succinct and that gives us a lot of leeway for how many paragraphs we need to write. Notice it's not that 3-point list that we talked about last week. We want to try to start moving into the more sophisticated form. Now let's look at closings. Our conclusion paragraphs should summarize the main idea, the thesis, that you present in your opening. It should also follow with a discussion of the implications of your argument or proposing action. So here's the piece that people often miss with conclusions. Typically, Comp 1 writers do a great job of summarizing their thesis statement. They can kind of restate. Comp 1 writers are really good at restating what the main idea was, what they talked about. But in order to write an effective conclusion, you have to go a step further. You want to have your reader be in a situation where they understand why what you've written is important. You're going to answer for your reader the question, so what? In other words, why does this matter? What are the implications of not following what you've laid forward in the paper? What are the implications if the argument isn't further developed, isn't further pushed forward by the reader? So let's have a look at a sample. So here is a conclusion for that same type paper that we had an intro for earlier. So let's have a look at this. It says, needless to say, Anna Quindlen is right. Americans must stop looking at homeless people as a problem to simply work around. It is now time to take steps to help our struggling brothers and sisters get back on their feet, working side by side to find solutions to end this crisis. So, our first couple of sentences here is working to just repeat what we put in that introductory paragraph. It mentions Anna Quindlen and her essay. It also talks about how we need to work together as Americans to solve the problem. Then we're going to push it a step further. And that's what you're going to see highlighted in the kind of aqua color here, where it says failing to do so will ultimately result in the highest population of homeless elders and children this country has ever faced. Allowing this crisis to continue without great strides forward will render this problem irreparable. So here we're getting the answer of so what? What's going to happen if we don't make changes? What are the implications of not doing anything? So hopefully with this closing, our reader of this essay is going to think, yeah, we really do need to work on this problem, and I want to be part of the solution. All right. So again, here we have a great conclusion. It starts out by summarizing the main idea. Notice that it's not the exact same words that were used in the introductory paragraph, and then it pushes forward, answering the question, so what?